Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo, first year, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. Here in Yerushalyim, here HaKodesh. Isru Chag, Shavuos Tafshin Ayin Ches, here in Yerushalyim, here HaKodesh. Yesterday was Chag Shavuos. And appropriate to that, we're going to continue with Pirkei Avos. The mimer here, Yeshua ben Prachia, V'netai al-Beli, Kibo Mehem, they received the Kabbalah from Yossi ben Yezer, Ish Tzreida, and Yossi ben Yochanan, Ish Yerushalyim. So Yeshua ben Prachia also Rav, should make for yourself a Rav, and acquire for yourself a friend. And judge everyone favorably. And so the appropriate the Matan Torah is also the Rav. You should make yourself a Rav. Let's see what Rashi has to say about that. Would you like to begin reading for us?
Sure.
Second citation with Rashi, right here. Page.
Yeah. Oseh lecha Rav, shelo tehei ata lamad le'atzmach. That it should not be that you should learn by yourself. Misvora from the opinion, from your opinion.
From svora, from logic, right?
From logic.
When you're learning, you should not be learning based on logic and opinion.
Ella, rather, min ha-rav, from a rabbi, min ha-shimoa, and from what he hears.
Yeah, shimor means what he hears, meaning from statements, which that's basically you can include like svarim, the gemuras, the midrashim, the halachas, learn from a Rav and from a shmor. You should learn from those things which have been previously stated. Right? And previously, obviously, in earlier generations, whereas printing was not invented yet, or difficult to come by, or expensive, so they had to rely on what was simply told over one person to the next. So you have to rely on that which a Rav teaches you and that which has been previously stated, rather than simply to rely on your own logic. If you rely on your logic, you'll never know if you'll be correct. It's certainly important when you're learning to use your logic. We don't intend with this statement to say that you have to suspend your logic, your sense of reason, and become completely passive in terms of intellectual activity. But what your first requirements are in your learning is to know what needs to be done, right? And that you can't make up on your own, right? You have to
do that from Rav. Learn by yourself. You should have a kavusa.
Well, we'll see about Chai. He said you have to hear two things. Also lecha Rav, koina lecha chaver. You should make for yourself a Rav and acquire for yourself a chaver. So first of all, you have to have a Rav. And that's not the same as learning b'karusa. The two karusa could be saying things on their own between the two. The learning b'karusa is one type of thing. You were saying, also Rav, you have to have a Rav. Because what are you going to do even if you're learning b'karusa when you have a dispute, and who's going to determine who's correct in the dispute? Or if you have a question which you can't resolve between the two of you, right? So we'll see more. They'll explain more exactly what the importance of the Rav is over here. Let's continue with the Rambam.
Say lecha Rav, v'afilu lo yigeh roy, and even if it is not appropriate.
Yeah.
Liyos lecha the Rav, to be for you for a Rav. Even if the person is not appropriate to be a Rav to you.
Now, okay. So now the Rambam's not going into explanations why, what the criteria for a Rav is, and what the criteria for not being a Rav is. But just taking it in generalities, he's saying for whatever reason you've determined this person is not really supposed to be a Rav for you. Right? But if that's the best that you have right now, right? So don't do yourself in by not taking benefit of this other person, even though he may not be who you really want to make a Rav for yourself in this particular case.
Maybe an example would be if the community hires a Rav, and it's your community, and for some reason you don't think that this Rav is appropriate for you. He's the Rav of your community. Right?
Good. Right. Sometimes the board may make a decision based on their needs and criteria, and it may not be particularly fitting in to you personally, right? So
the Yos L'Chor, he does not define what L'Chor refers to.
right, meaning that it says, yeah.
What's good for you?
The Yos L'Chor, I mean, he's not going. Well, maybe we'll see a little bit more in his explanation. Right. I mean, why not? Why is he saying? He's saying a Kiddush, even if this person, right, is not really befitting that he should be your Rav, right? Let's say, I'm from Satmar, right? And I'm in a certain situation. The only person there is a Rav from Washington Heights, right? The Ashkenazi, right? So really, there are different things, and that it's not really going to be matim, and we know that but still, it's not that you can't learn from him, you can't make him a Rav for you, at least, and we'll see. It's Rambam is telling you, like in the temporarily, he should be for you a Rav. Now, Baruch Hashem, when I came here, there was a Bacher, I forgot who told me, but he met, it was someone in the Yeshiva, so Mishkiach, or the Yeshiva, I'm not sure who exactly, but he told me that when you're trying to rely on a Rav, that someone should be your Das Torah, right, you have three basic criteria, right? First of all, he should be wiser than you, right? He should be older than you, and he should have your best interests in mind. Right? So if he meets these three criteria, there's no logical reason why you shouldn't rely on him to help you in certain, in almost everything. If he's wiser than you, we're talking about wiser in terms of Torah, that's for sure. And it could be since he's older than you, he probably has more experience, life experience. And if you're convinced that he has your best interests in mind, and he doesn't have any ulterior motives in trying to help you and influence you in doing certain things, so it's a winning combination. Right? So even this may not be a person that's going to be what you consider to be your ideal mani, your ideal Rav, right? But at least in terms of temporary reliance on this person, you have these three basic criteria which you can fall back on to allow this person to guide you. So let's see what the Rambam sees further.
But Shimahu.
Learning to place him, to place him and to make him
the Rav for Rav until Shetim Sur Lo Halimud Vitoshab. So what is this?
Just two more words. Vitoshab L'cha
Ha-chachma. The wisdom. So what is this word? Shittim sur.
Right. So he gives over to you, transfers to you. Right. So he says, when you have a person who's, even if he's in the Rambam is saying it's a Kiddush, certainly it's more so if the person is fit to be for you a Rav. He's very, very well versed, and he has very good midas, and he's a Yerushalyim. He meets all the criteria of a person to be a Rav. But the Rambam is saying, even if the person is not really fit for some reason, which he doesn't go into details, why he's not really fit for you to be a Rav for you. But what should you do? Even though he's not, it's like what we say, B'di'evit, it's not the B'di'evit. So what should you do? B'di'evit, Avosimu lo Rav ad shitim shulo. You should make him a Rav until he gives over to you the subject matter which you're learning. And you achieve for yourself wisdom. Right? Meaning, this person is perhaps expert in a certain field, right? And of Torah, whatever it might be. And you need and you want to learn from him what he has to teach from you, right? So you learn from him, make him feel to be a Rav for you until you've gotten what he has to teach you, and you've achieved that level of Chachma which you want to achieve.
And then you abandon it?
Well, it all depends. It's not so simple in the Kedarim. The Kedarim that the children have. Not all the Kedarim are built this way, but in the younger grades, they have one Rebbe for each grade. And really, what it does, in a certain way, it kind of breaks this whole idea of a Rebbe-Talmud relationship, going from one teacher to, I don't want to call them teachers, but that's the way, unfortunately, it's sort of based on. It really wasn't like that in the old days so much. The Rebbe kind of took the children all the way, through and some, they're very,
So like a Rebbe would start with first grade, and then he'd be the second grade Rebbe, and then another Rebbe would fill it in, and they would like march along.
Right, for a certain time. And I think there are some Kedarim were based on the system now also, because it really, it was, if they first of all, the Rebbe gets to know the child very well. And you can work with him. It's not every year that he has to, learn a new group of children. Children have to be, that's when, first of all, people are on a much higher level. A Rebbe could go from what, so to speak, the first graders needed to know, and the second graders needed to know, and the third graders needed to know. He was Adam Gadol himself, and he was able to teach them all aspects of Torah, regardless of what level they were on. It wasn't that it was just, this one's only good for teaching Aleph Beis, because he can't really teach him Rashi and Chumash so well. Right? So this other Rebbe has to teach him Rashi and Chumash. And when they start Mishnayos, they need another Rebbe for Mishnayos. Right? And then there's something more than another.
It's hard of the Rebbe's subject each year. Well, they can't reuse the same.
Again, if it's just a job, so it's just it's all right, but if you really care that these are children that are going to be hopefully the next generation of Torah in Klal Yisrael, right? So it's not just shouldn't be just a job. That's very unfortunate if it comes down to just being a job. They take out the same old parsha sheets, the same old questions, the same old this and that.
Right.
So the two shot is to acquire?
Yeah, two shot. To reach. What's a hasaga?
Hasaga. Understanding. Acquiring the knowledge. So this is a very interesting statement.
Yeah.
So you're using this person just to get his knowledge. But he's not ready for you to be a Rav,
right.
A Rebbe, but you're just doing something for your own benefit, which could be a little bit selfish if you look at it that way, until you acquire the knowledge, and then you can say goodbye to others.
Well, yeah, Rambam doesn't go into that exactly, but he's explaining that the practical aspects of this is that if you need to learn something, you have to learn it well, and this person has that ability to teach it to you properly, right? So you learn what you have to learn from him. And again, it's a little bit under. Yeah, but you don't know why the Rambam's trying to tell us a Kiddush, right? He didn't tell us at this point what are the requirements of being a proper Rav, and he's not telling us therefore what this particular instance is, why this person is not fit for you to be a Rav. But he's saying, don't give up on making this person a Rav for yourself, even if he's not fit for it. Meaning, even if he's not fit for being a Rav, you should go ahead. Because what does it mean? Maybe the words of the Mishnah itself are telling us this. Also calling Rav, meaning, what does it mean you have to make him a Rav? The person who's a Rav, you don't have to make him a Rav. What does it mean you should make for yourself this person a Rav?
But another shot is, if he's not suitable to be a Rav, you have to make it's an active activity, it's a verb. You have to go out and find a Rav who's suitable for you. Maybe that's what that teaching is. This guy, he's great, he's very knowledgeable, but he's not for you, you don't relate to him, whatever reason. So go out and make another Rav.
Okay, exactly. That would be the Tchila, right? But the Rambam's teaching us, he's telling us Hezron what's the B'di'evet, meaning let's say you can't find anybody, right? Maybe you can't find anybody.
How are you reading what this is?
Rambam.
Yeah, you're reading into the Rambam. The Rambam says, the guy is not for you, but learn whatever you can and then move on.
No, he didn't. I didn't say that. No one's saying moving on. No one says moving on, right? He says, but it's included maybe moving on in the words what he says. Avos Rav ad shitim sululo limud, until he's giving you over the limud. Now, and what happens after that?
Is a move on may love ad. You go up to this level,
And then
you got the inquiry. Then to me, that then you have to move on.
Could be. I mean, if you have to move on, you got to move on, right? I mean that. It's not so clear.
Was the Rambam in all his story, was he always supporting a Rav and a Rebbe and a Malamed? Was that part of his philosophy? I don't know.
I'm not Bucky in the.
Was he pro-educated, pro-Rebbe's, or he said, get the guy that could help you and then look for somebody else? Which would have a negative implications, in my opinion.
No, it all depends on the situation. I mean, look, if there are times when you're learning from somebody, and you've reached the point that he's giving you everything you can get from him.
Yeah. So then traditionally you always went to a higher yeshiva, a higher shir, a higher rebbe. Okay. Is that what the Rambam was saying?
Part of what he's saying, whether that's completely what he's saying, I'm not sure.
I think he's saying a little bit different. I think he's saying, don't write off this rabbi, even if he's not perfect for you. If there's a limud that he can teach you, and if there's chachma that he can teach you, then learn it from him.
That's definitely
until you learn from him. Then when you've learned it and there's nothing, if you feel like you're stagnating and you're not learning, then of course you have to make a change.
It could be maybe this particular person is 100%. He's great. He's 100%, but he simply doesn't have enough time for you, right? So maybe he's giving you shir, so you go to his shir, you learn from him as much as you can shir. But like in terms of the time and effort that you need to develop properly, this particular, he might be too busy, he might be the Rashka Bahad, he might be...
maybe even have the capabilities.
Yeah, or maybe someone doesn't have the capabilities, but like let's say, not all the Torah were so accessible as people needed, and so therefore it's many times advisable, maybe based on this Rambam, that even though there might be a greater Chocham, it may be a greater tzaddik, right? But if they don't particularly have time for you to meet your needs of what you need to do personally, right? So you should maybe find someone who's lower, more accessible, and learn what you can from them. And then when it's time to, as you say, move on, you move on. But again, really, to tell you the truth, you never leave a Rebbe. I mean, if a person knows anything about learning from a Rebbe and what Torah is and everything, and that's what the Mishnah Avos says. A person who teaches you even one thing in Torah, you have to know it and cover. You're not talking about dumping it. And that's not what we're talking about here. You have to mechaber him. He teaches it. That is what it says over here in the sixth parak of Avos. We'll get to it with Hashem. That it says as follows. This is from Mechaveru. This is Mechaveru, not from a Rav. It's even more so from a Rav, right? Alomid Mechaveru. You learn from your friend Perik Echad. You learn one Perik of Mishnayos, or Halacha Achas, even one Halacha, or Posuk Echad, even one verse in the Torah or Tanakh, or Dibur Echad. He taught you what one word means, or Fila Osas Achas. He taught you what one letter means, right? Surah Lin, what covered. You have to be accustomed to give him honor. Shekein Matzinu b'David HaMelech Israel. He goes on, right? That David HaMelech was noig with Me'achi Toifel. Shelo lomid Me'achi Toifel el shnei devarim b'vad. David HaMelech only learned from Achi Toifel two things. We call Rabbo, he called him Rabbo, Alufoi, Meduya, Shenemar, Ve'ate Enosh Ba'arki. He brings a pasuk. Allah called the Barim Kol V'chomer. It's a Kol V'chomer. Ma David Melech Yisrael. What David Melech Yisrael? Shalom Limid Machi Toif Shnei Devarim Bilvad. David Melech was the king. He was the head of Klal Yisrael. He was like the Moshe Rabbeinu of his generation, but he learned two things from Rabbi Teufel. Karol Rav, we called him a Rav Alufei Mudui. Alomi Bechaveroi, the person that they're on the equal level, right? They're on equal level, and you learn from him a Perek Echad, Olacha Achas, Pasuk Echad, Dibur Echad, Afilu Ois Echad, Alachas Kama V'Kama, so much more so. Shitzorak Lino B'Kavod, so much more so you have to give him covet, respect. Right?
Who was Avi Teufel?
Achi Teufel.
Did you fill in his?
That's beyond these sheer. I'll have to prepare and I want to hold. I don't know where his mother was. I don't know where he was born.
I'm sorry I asked these tough questions, Rabbi. But are the Rambam is saying with the Evid, okay?
No, again, I'm not sure if it's Bidi Evid. It may be that this is the person you need now. But nevertheless, see, we haven't really gotten to what's the definition of a Rav? How do you define who and what a Rav is? Right? The Rambam, by saying if you lo haya roi lios Rav, Rambam is taking for granted that there's a certain type of a criteria that a Rav has to be. Right? Now, once you have that certain criteria, then you can apply that criteria to a person that you're contemplating to be a Rav. Now that's why it could be the Rambam saying this when this Mishnah Asr, you should make this person a Rav, meaning he's not a Rav independent on his own, in absolute terms, right? But also you should make him for yourself a Rav.
I would be careful by using the Evid because I don't know how often did the Rambam say, this is the Chatchila, this is the Evid. Is that a standard procedure that the Rambam used?
Well, the Lashon Afilu, what's the Lashon Afilu?
Okay, so that's... what's Afilu? Afilu means, under ordinary circumstances, he's not the right guy, but Afilu, but if you can learn something from him,
okay.
He's sort of boosting people who have knowledge but are not fully knowledgeable or do not relate well to people. So
he's not going into all the details. Whatever it could be. Look, if a person has a certain disability, right? A certain disability, and so a regular Rav is not going to have the time and patience to deal with to help these people what he has to need. But just because he has a certain disability doesn't mean we came to our Sinai. Rashi says, right? We came to our Sinai, right? So when we were slaves in Mitzrayim, so we're working with bricks and mortar and all these kind of things. So these things would fall. They would crush a person's foot, so a person would be lame. They would fall on his person's arm. He would have to have his arm amputated, right? He would then become blind. That's true because of the Mitzrayim were mistreating us. So when we came to our Sinai, HaKodesh Baruch Hu was Marapa everybody, right? Gave sight to everybody, and he made everyone walk properly, and whatever handicap they happened to have, Hashem took those things away, right? Because it was covered of Torah, is covered of HaKodesh Baruch Hu, covered of the Klal Yisrael, that the people should say, you know what? He gave the Torah to a bunch of maimed people, a nation of cripples, right?
Did Moshe Rabbeinu have time for disabled people?
You yourself wrote about Yisro.
What?
You yourself wrote about Yisro in your Zmiros, and in your Johannesburg speech in South Africa about Yisro.
So what did I write?
What is Moshe Rabbeinu doing when Yisro came on the scene? He was judging the people, right? He was judging all the people.
Okay. So what happened?
So he had time. Moshe Rabbeinu had time for everybody.
Yeah, but Yisro say that doesn't work. There are too many disabled people in it.
No.
You're not going to have time.
At that point, they had been Kabbalah the Torah already, right? But I always say that it didn't.
Isn't that some machlokas?
Before, after the Makah. But I always say, it didn't say he made everybody smart.
Oh, you're smart.
Smart.
I have a different, slightly different application than what you imagine.
Yep.
And that is that
It can't be your bad, but
when I was in
but
Los
he can
Angeles, I
teach
had a
yourself.
Carusa,
Yeah.
and we
Learn
had
from
a
him.
morning
Now,
shiur
the question is,
every
once
day.
you finish learning, what do
We
you
had a
do?
rabbi, Rabbi Morgan, who
push him away and
was
say,
perfect.
Charlie
He-
has
all
the
the
same
three
miracle?
criteria that you
Or
said,
you have to
and,
discover to...
and I love
The
him
Rambam
and
doesn't
so on and
fight
so
these
forth.
things.
And then things couldn't work out right. He had to go do something else. And the Rav of the shul took over
Right.
for him. The Rav of the shul was like in his late 20s, early 30s. He had, you know, a couple of small children. Definitely not, you know, the same person. Definitely not appropriate and not Roy. In terms of, I wouldn't go to him and ask him, you know, a deep life question. I would have to go to somebody else, somebody who was older and wiser and so on and so forth, like you were saying. But it doesn't mean I couldn't learn from him. In terms of Gemara, he knew a lot more than me about Gemara. And you know, he served as the Rav for our class.
That's also good.
Is there,
But it's not that it's not that I would throw him away. It's just that, you know, he had certain abilities to teach us certain things, and we learned that. And other things were, you know, we all understood. You know, he understood, I understood that I wasn't coming to him for, you know, for certain aspects of my life.
the Indian of Acharei Rabbim Lahatos, does that enter this kind of situation? The Kehila appoints so-and-so a Rav, and the majority, 99%, say he's qualified and we want him. And some people say, no, it's not for us. Are they supposed to follow because the majority of the Rabbim that Tzibur appointed him?
When it comes to
To me, it sounds like you have to follow.
Look, in terms of the things which are relevant to the tzibur, the congregation, he and the tzibur as a majority decided this was a person to make the decisions and guide the tzibur, so you're obligated to follow him. Your personal, you're going to obligated to follow his personal things, or maybe impinge upon your personal life if you had another way of another approach, but not to judge yourself. But you have the right to look into something as long as it's not going to conflict with the congregation. So
There's of Al-Tifrosh from the Tzibur,
no, you don't want to.
In the German community, that's very strong.
So it should be in all communities. It's not. That statement wasn't made for the German community. I mean, that statement wasn't made for the German community.
Al-Tifrosh from the Tzibur, the German. The way they said Al-Tifrosh. I heard that.
Right.
My wife's family.
Yeah.
A chassid would say Al-Tifrosh.
Zager?
Let's see. We'll have to stop and start the halakha soon, and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, very good.